And now it's time to look into the future of wine tourism from our next session. And to moderate the panel on wine tourism, understanding the future, it is my pleasure to welcome on stage Niklas Ridoff, CEO of WineTourist.com from Sweden. Please.
My name is Niklas Ridoff. I'm the CEO of WineTourism.com, and we are a global online marketplace for wine tourists and travelers to find great wine experiences. We will be talking about the future of wine tourism, what it could look like, and what are the major trends and undercurrents that are shaping this future. To help me in this quest, I have the pleasure and privilege of being accompanied by a panel of experts from all across the wine tourism world. And they are Sofía Ruiz Cavanagh. Sofía is from Argentina. She's the CEO of Wineobs. Next up, we have Martin Lullier from France, the head of Wine Tourism France at Atout France. Then we have Luca Balbiano from Italy. Hi, Luca. Luca is the CEO at Balbiano Winery, and he's the president at Urban Vineyards Association. The Urban Vineyards Association was born with the aim of protecting the rural, historical, and natural heritage represented by urban vineyards and enhancing this heritage from a cultural and touristic point of view. Next up, we have António Pé-Curto from Portugal. António is the CEO and founder of Alle Wine. And last but certainly not least, we have Santiago Vivanco from Spain. Santiago is the president of the Vivanco Wine Culture Museum Foundation. I'd like to jump right in with our first question. There has been no shortage of world events to feed into a vision of the future. The COVID pandemic, the ensuing rapid digitalization and fundamental change in online behavior, the war in Ukraine, rampant inflation, a looming energy crisis, and the signs of an emerging European, and some would say global recession. Given all of this, I ask, how do you see the future of wine tourism? Luca, what do you have to say?
Thank you, Niklas. First of all, I want to thank UNWTO and the Italian government and obviously Enit for this invitation, because for a wine producer of a tiny winery, being here today is a gift with you. Before being president of Urban Vineyards Association, I'm a wine producer actually. So I measure personally the importance of the touristic component in our wine world and the importance, the fundamental importance on the sustainability and subsistence and survival of our industry. When I started working in my family's winery, something like 15 years ago, the wine world was very different, and the wine tourism as well. We wine producers used to be only wine producers, so we needed to do the wine, and that's it. Then we had a very strict intermediation. So we had importers, distributors, retailers that used to sell our wines and to pass our messages. I think that the pandemic has taught us a very important lesson in that sense. Now we discovered that we must talk directly to our consumers and to people, and this is very important in that sense, because it changed so much the wine world in communicating the wines. And fortunately, nowadays we can host visitors and tourists in our wineries again, which is the best place and the best way ever to tell about our wines, that is not having them directly in our wineries, to show them physically how we do the work, what are we doing, all the efforts that we put in making it sustainable, making it differently, and that makes a very big difference, also economically speaking, because you can show them why maybe your wine is a little bit more expensive than another one, and why probably a €1 a bottle wine is not that sustainable at the end. now is asked to us not only to be wine producers, but also to be communicators, to be frontmen, to be influencers sometimes. So probably we went beyond, we went too far, because at the end we have to remember to ourselves that as wine producers, we must be the keeper of our lands, of our territory. And this doesn't mean building walls or building boundaries, but means keeping alive the uniqueness of our lands and open them to the world. So wine tourism, in my opinion, will play a very important, a fundamental role to the growth of the whole sector, of the whole wine sector, but just if it will be able to carefully balance the needs of the tourist and the needs of the territory. And it will have to do so on many levels. So socially, culturally, environmentally, and obviously economically.
I want to jump a little bit and talk about something that's been brought up consistently, which is an inextricable part of the future, sustainability, which we've all talked about. And so in the context of looking into the future, I want to ask, how do we advance sustainability in wine tourism? A question that's been asked here many times, and I'd love to hear it from you guys. Luca, what's your view on how do we advance sustainability in wine tourism?
Well, we heard so many interesting opinions in the last 2 days answering that question, which is pretty complicated. In my opinion, well, I believe that sustainability on wine tourism must go through a great work, great educational and cultural work. Because maybe before making wine tourism really sustainable, it's probably necessary to make sustainability a real priority. As long as having a sustainable approach is considered as an optional feature by customers and suppliers as well, we will be forever many Don Quixote fighting windmills, which are pretty sustainable, by the way. So to reverse the trend, or maybe to enhance the good trend, I think that it will be more and more important to communicate those small, big efforts that the wine world is putting on making the wine world and the wine tourism world sustainable, maybe giving back to Mother Nature some of its kindness and inspiring those who wants to approach to the wine world with a natural sense of respect. Because in my opinion, respect is the best form ever of sustainability.
I wanted to, it turns out we won't have time for a Q&A, unfortunately, but I wanted to give the last word to you, Luca, and to get your reflection on the same question. What are the keys to creating these experiences?
Okay. Well, if you're asking me about the keys to create a wine tourism destination which is inclusive, creative, and sustainable, I can answer the question with 2 words: Urban Vineyards. Well, joking, but well, we have founded the Urban Vineyards Association to enhance unique places that embody all those 3 characteristics. We're talking about urban vineyards, often reborn by their own ashes and wanted by people and organizations who bet on beauty. And today we welcome 11 vineyards around the world, which are in the very center of the city, but that share many things more than just simply being in the middle of a city. We're talking about cities like Turin, Milan, Paris, Venice, Palermo, Catania, New York, and so on. And they are small diamonds encrusted in the gray of concrete of the cities, of the metropolis. And they are a symbol of resilience and beauty, obviously. And they are the physical demonstration, the physical proof that nothing is impossible, because if a urban vineyard can survive, we can survive all. So they are inclusive because they are first of all places of sociality, and this is very important to us. They are creative because they offer a new scheme for wine tourism. It's something pretty disruptive, and they are absolutely sustainable because tell me how many other vineyards you can visit by having a walk in the middle of a city. So more sustainable than that, I don't know. I will never tire of saying that making a good wine today is necessary but not sufficient condition to sell it. So we must create emotion, just like Antonio said earlier, through quality, but also and above all through the story that is behind that bottle of wine. Because at the end, wine without the beauty of its history is just a drink.
Thank you so much. I wish we had more time, but I want a big round of applause for all of our fantastic speakers. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.